Welcome back to Good Morning Lowland. We're so excited to be talking all about women's empowerment today on Wealth Wednesday. We have a beautiful Helena Grace Donald in the house. So excited to have you here. She is the author of Learning to Love the Girl in the Mirror. And she also is your life coach. You do so many things. You do tapping, you do all kinds of coaching. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's quite a journey. So it started with the book, actually, just wanting to get my message out there of body positivity and body empowerment, because I think if women can totally embrace who they are and the skin that they live in, then we will be so much more empowered in this world. And I wanted to get that message out there. But tapping actually saved me. So
really?
The emotional freedom technique totally saved me in my life and helped me heal from an eating disorder. So I became so passionate about the effect that that can have on releasing traumas in the body, reprogramming negative or limiting beliefs so that us women can go out and like be our best selves, which is so what this theme of today is about.
So true. Don't you think it's funny that it's like, as women, it's almost like we cannot have success in one area if one area is off.
Totally.
Like it's like we need it all. It's like the whole holistic thing. We need to heal everything and everyone, and then we'll rise.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes, like, you know, we're female entrepreneurs. I've been surrounded by amazing female entrepreneurs this week, and it's amazing. But you're totally right. I think we need to focus on just as much of the business side of things as our own inner healing work and our own self-development, or we'll kind of just keep hitting a ceiling, or something will be reflected in our business that is actually showing up in a lesson that we need to go through in our personal life as well.
So true.
It's so powerful. So how do you do that? How do you calibrate for each? Because I think sometimes different principles apply, maybe even the same principles, but they apply in different ways in each area of your life. So is it hard to sort of, you know, move from one area and focusing on business to back to the self-care? And
in my personal life, oh my gosh, I think they actually bleed so much into one, because if I'm not present in my body or aligned with my message, or releasing a limiting belief that might possibly be holding me back from even earning the amount of money that I want to attract into my life, then it all bleeds into one. And that's why we have to start with that morning ritual, or I really have to face myself in the mirror every day and say, okay, how am I not showing up as the best version of myself? Because that is going to either reflect in my work or reflect in my work with my clients. So I think I don't really separate them, I think they actually really bleed into one.
Right. I'm sure there's people out there that look at it and they go, well, she can do it because, you know, X, Y, and Z. Tell us, you know, we'd like to hear, you know, we don't like to focus, of course, on the darkest hour, but we've all had that dark hour. And I think it's important to get vulnerable, just to have people realize, like, there's people out there that are struggling right now, or there's days where we just struggle. Like, what does that look like for you? What is your darkest hour? What's your struggle look like for you?
Absolutely. And we all go through that. There's ups and downs, peaks and valleys. And that's why it's so important to have work that you know, or a tool you can use, that when that happens, you know how to work through it, because each level you go through, it might keep showing up. But my darkest hour was actually probably throughout my teenage years. Like, that was really tough for me. So I lived 24/7 with my own inner little Miss Critical. I write about her in my book. And she just put me down. She really told me all of the ways that I was not good enough. I was taking on other people's opinions in my life, and all of that pressure that I put on myself to be perfect manifested into an eating disorder. So as I went on that healing journey and discovered the power of self-love, and that's quite an umbrella term, like self-care and self-love can be messy too. But it really empowered me to step into who I am, to embrace the inner wisdom within me, and to stay aligned with what I want to do in this world and how I want to show up.
I hate that bitch that lived in my head like years ago. I was like, this girl has to go. You're not my like, make peace. Look, we got to figure this out. Let's come to terms here, you know? And then you like finally make peace with that, all the different personalities inside, you know?
If we wouldn't say it to our best friend, like, why is it okay to say it to ourselves? And I ran a workshop on Saturday, and it was really amazing because we personified the women's inner little Miss Critical. And what was the most amazing tool for them to see is, it was so hard for the person playing Little Miss Critical to say those things to their partner. And it made them realize, hang on, I'm saying these things to myself, so why is that okay?
I know. It's so, the inner peace is everything. And I mean, Rob teaches that more than everything.
It's priceless. Yeah. We were talking a little bit earlier in the show about sort of how to become a millionaire, at least according to the book. And I think I've shared it maybe once before, but Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich, right? Later in his life, so he discovered all these principles by studying very successful, wealthy people, and he wrote them in the book. And then later in his life, he had lost all that. Lost all his money, and so then he decided to write a second book called Think and Grow Rich with Peace of Mind, because he didn't have any peace along the way either. The peace is priceless, absolutely.
Absolutely, and what money means to us, because money is also an umbrella term, and I work with women on money mindset as well. And we can have like associations with money that can actually cause us to make a lot of money and then lose it, or traumas related to money, or what we've learned about money from our parents and from society. And especially as women who for a long time have been told it's not safe for you to even earn money, over the generations, or it's not okay for you to make your own money. It's amazing to start helping women reprogramming that so that we can become, you were talking about abundance and alignment, so we can become aligned with that.
I love it. So
I have a question, and I think it's one that people are struggling with sometimes. And I think in this spiritual journey, we want to take responsibility for what happens in our lives, right? Because we can manifest things and we can lose things. We can all do all this, and so much of that is up to us. At the same time, there are sometimes things that happen that you can't necessarily attribute to something that you did or thought or felt. So let's just say, you put money into a bank, the bank fails. So how do you do that? How do you find sort of self-love and take responsibility for your life in the midst of other things that are uncontrollable, right? Like other people and...
Because I think the only thing we can control is ourselves and our reaction to it. And things will come up, traumas will happen. I talk about trauma, but I mean, I'm not talking about huge trauma. It can also be something like that. There's traumas linked to money. And that's where I believe tapping comes in, and allowing that thought, that trauma, that experience to be released in the body, so that it's not something we hold on to, so that the next time you invest in something, or you put money in the bank, you're not having the thought process, I'm going to lose this again, or this isn't safe. So that we can come and approach life from our most grounded and centered place.
Love that. Could you, for the folks that don't know exactly what tapping is, can you explain a little more for them?
It's not getting on some tapping shoes and dancing. No, so it's actually, it's called the emotional freedom technique, and it's actually tapping on certain points on the body, acupressure points, without putting any needles in you, something you can do at home. And accepting actually the thought or the belief or whatever is coming up for you at the time and vocalizing it. As you do that, it's great to be led with a practitioner because they can intuitively lead you where you need to go. But as you tap and actually verbalize what you're feeling inside, it releases the pressure that is on that belief. It releases the thought. And you can take someone from, for example, myself, who is 10 out of 10, I need to throw up my meals. That was a belief that I had, right down to minimizing that to a 3 or a 2, so that you can start that healing journey. You can start releasing that pattern or negativity or limiting belief.
So fascinating how the body holds the memory, and then as we release it and get more flow, then you're able to release the emotions and actually come to some normal new choice in your life.
Absolutely.
So tell people where they can find you.
Awesome. My brand is Girl Unfiltered. So Instagram is @GirlUnfiltered. My website's girlunfiltered.com. That's probably the best thing. Reach out. I love chatting with all of you and connecting with all of you. And I have a Facebook group called the Self-Love Tribe with Girl Unfiltered.
I love it.
Love that.
Yeah.
Off the filter, get that self-love up.
Yes. Stay tuned, you guys. We'll be right back.